Hey guys, Tyler here. I want to talk to you all about something very important to me. You see, I've been doing Patreon for over half a year now, and I want to talk about everything that I've learned. First off, it has been an unbelievable success. 3,100 patrons and climbing, absolutely unbelievable. So much so that it's letting me hire a third person to the channel, which I'm currently in the process of doing. This would completely be impossible without Patreon, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm at the point where any extra money I'm making is just being reinvested back in the channel. So more money, better videos, more money, better videos, and I hope to repeat that process 1 or 2 more times. If you're wondering how I want the videos to improve, I think there's a lot we can do in the department of visual communication. I want to show what's happening in my mind when solving puzzles, and I want to show rather than tell how a game works. We did some of that in Tandis, Can of Wormholes, and even in Polybridge, and you guys really seem to like it. I would love to expand that more. However, doing so takes a lot of time, which requires more editors, which requires more money. So if this is a cause you can get behind, I would highly recommend supporting me on Patreon. It will directly loop back into better videos here. Plus, you get something like 11 or 12 hours of exclusive gaming videos, including the ongoing Oxygen Not Included series, which, by the way, is going incredibly well. We're working on episode 4 right now, and it doesn't feel like the series is ending anytime soon. If you were worried that there's only gonna be 2 episodes and the colony's gonna die, worry not. That's not happening. It's shaping up to be a hefty series. Now, one thing I've learned from Patreon is that some games just aren't for me. Patreon has but one blemish. And ideally, it will be the only blemish ever on the Patreon, and that is the Terraria series. I knew I was gonna hate Terraria going into it because open world survival craft is by far my least favorite type of game, even worse than first-person shooters, and that's saying something. I don't like that genre because every single open world survival craft just feels like a simpler version of real life. You want to gather resources? You click on it. You want to craft something? You click twice. Or obviously in real life, that takes a lot more expertise and there's a lot of interesting ways to do it. You can get very creative. I mean, even making a simple piece of furniture takes more effort than that in a video game. Combat's really simple, either hit, miss, or crit, and the enemies are so one-dimensionally evil that they're literally made into giant demonic walls of flesh. Where in real life, the evil is a lot more nuanced. Combat usually isn't physical. Usually we engage in psychological warfare. And in the game, there's hardly any responsibilities. The only real consequence you can face is wasting time, and every NPC is so much dumber than you are. Now, I think a lot of people will hear that explanation and be like, yeah, that's why I enjoy the genre. People like simplicity. It's escapism. I prefer complexity, so I'd rather play real life. But what's interesting, actually, is that every single game genre has a real-world analog. But that's a topic for another video. Back to Terraria. I was this close to not playing it and just playing Frostpunk instead because they were practically tied in the polls. I actually had to host a tiebreaker between them, and the results was 52%, 48%, super close. And the only reason I played Terraria was because I came up with this genius idea to turn it into a puzzle game. But I still hated it. And from this, I learned that sometimes games are going to be nominated that I expect to hate, and I need a better protocol for them. So I think I'm going to do a 5-game trial period for games I expect to hate. If a game wins that's like Terraria and I don't think I'll like it, I will do 5 episodes for sure. And if I happen to surprisingly like it, I'll continue it. Or if I hate it or find it boring, I'll just move on to the next game. Whenever the vote happens, I'll make a little note by the games that have that 5-video trial period. Speaking of game nomination, I want to make a change that I think should be in the favor of you guys. Previously, I only accepted game nominations in a 7-day block right before the voting began, but I realized it's actually really easy to keep the nominations organized. So now I'm just going to let you nominate whenever the hell you want. It'll work the same as it always did. Nominate via Patreon's DMs. There'll be 1 nomination per game series. I hope that way it'll make it easier for people to not miss out on their perks. Here's a positive thing I learned. It is really refreshing to record videos for Patreon. Do you have any idea how big a deal it is to not have to think about what the video is going to be titled, what the video is going to be thumbnailed, whether the YouTube algorithm will enjoy it or not. I don't think my channel is that affected by the YouTube algorithm, but even still, it's something that crosses my mind as a YouTuber. all I have to focus on is whether the video is good or not. Otherwise, there's no pressure, and just recording videos for Patreon is so soothing for my brain in comparison. It's like how YouTube used to feel, when it really was just about do what you want, and if the people enjoy it, they'll keep watching. And I think I want to be able to do that for more games. So like there's a specific category of game that, I made some videos on for YouTube. They weren't that popular, but I'm like, well, but I want to keep playing them, but I don't want to brick my career. And I guess for a while I was thinking the Patreon, the original iteration of it, was going to totally cover that. And they partly did. People voted in Frostpunk, and that series kicked ass. But I was also expecting a series like Potionomics or Tokitori 2 or even Baba Is You to make a resurgence. But, sometimes unpopular games are just unpopular. That's okay. But I'm also thinking, if there is some way for me to just play those games if I want to, the Patreon's probably the best way to do it. For example, I'd love to get the last episode of Tokitori 2 up on there, whenever I finish recording it. I wouldn't want it to interrupt the 4 videos a month of the game that people voted on, but there's definitely some way I could do it. Stay tuned. Okay, so if you made it this far, I got a little treat for you guys. People have been asking about how the outro is coming along, and it's spectacular, but I can't show you the whole thing yet. Instead, I'll show you a little teaser. Here's a little picture of Baba and Kiki. It's low res. It's lower res than that will actually be in the outro, but you can still tell it's very, very cute. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for listening to me. Hope you're doing well, and I also hope you're as excited for the future of this channel as I am. It's been a great year so far. Let's keep it going, and I'll check in with you all next time when the outro pick is done. Until then, have a wonderful day, and peace.